I just happened to be walking by and I saw this spider fall into the oil that I changed earlier. Should I let him out? I mean, he's a big nasty one, man. If he was like a jumping spider, I would definitely help the little dude out, but oh my god, this is a big, ugly, nasty spider. The kind of spider I really don't want around, to be honest. I don't think. Ah, jeez, I can't watch him drown. That's cruel. Alright, little dude. Come on. Come on. There. Alright. It's your lucky day. It really, really is. It's your lucky day, man. If you can find your way out of the oil slick, you can live. Tell you what, I'm going to get you away from my mower, though. Don't jump on me, you shithead. Come on, little dude. I went through the trouble, now you got to live. It's going to be a nasty life for a little bit. You need some water, don't you, or something? I mean, that'll teach you to crawl around in somebody's oil pan. Won't it? Yeah, I'm a total softie. Anyway, I'm going to drag this out and take some pictures of it and get it up on Facebook Marketplace and hopefully get rid of it. I did get rid of a couple of mowers over the past couple of days that were in my collection, but I've got several more, as you can see here. We're going to get to. While I'm pulling this out, I wanted to show you something I picked up yesterday, which is just a sheer coincidence. So this mower that we just did, this is a Yard Machines with a 550 EX Briggs and Stratton motor, 140cc motor. We changed the oil in it. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link up here so you can check that video out. But same day I got finished with it. Check this out. Found this on the curb. It's another 550 Briggs and Stratton. And basically this is a pressure washer. I don't know the state of it. In this video we're probably going to assess what's going on with it. See if we can get it started. If we can get it started, then I may go ahead and you know, find the attachments for it and maybe have this as a second as a backup pressure washer or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not even sure what to do with it yet. I've already got a good pressure washer, but I mean, this one, the pressure washer needs to be pressure washed off. So probably what I'll do at some point is pressure wash it off with my other pressure washer. But first things first, I want to see if we can get it cranking. If we can get it cranking, then I may put a little bit more time into it. But yeah, free. I mean, if nothing else, it's a free motor, free engine that I could put on something else. You know, obviously there's going to be no throttle control, but no mowers have those right now anymore. So this has got the automatic choke, I would imagine, automatic throttle. And all these modern engines have that. I do have a deck. If I can get that motor right there running, if I can get that motor running, I have a deck. It just happens to have a an electric motor on it right now. But it's you know, somewhat possible, at least. I might swap this electric out for gas. I do have a couple of more mowers rather back here. That one in the back I'm not sure about. That's a big question mark. So if I can't get that motor running, the one in the very back, then I will probably transplant the motor we just found onto that one. But yeah, as you can see, my garage is a freaking mess. I need to get to some of this stuff and get it out of here. After building my chicken coop, and you see the video of that build up here, you know, I need all the space I can get in here, and some of this stuff is just gonna have to go. I've got some projects. I've got a couple of washing machine well, the washing machine works. I've got a washing machine project right here. I've got a dryer that I need to take inside. I've got all these vacuum cleaners over here, and these are also carpet cleaners, wet cleaners. There's even a Kirby there. You know, I'd like to get some of those fixed and get them out of here, give them away, whatever. I just think they make kind of fun videos because they're pretty easy for the most part, and it's funny to see what people throw away, you know what I mean, for what reasons. Got several trimmers. This is a curb find, this Boland's. This was a curb find the other day, this Ryobi, believe it or not. Found that on the curb. I have a steel right there that's going to need some attention. What else? I need to overhaul that backpack blower again. You know, it runs, but it's just not running the greatest. So I need to pop the carb off that and clean it and all, you know, the whole 9 yards. Change some fuel lines. There's a lot of things I need to get to really around here, but I'm going to start with this little guy that I found yesterday. See if we can't get it at least running. We'll see if it cranks over, if nothing else. Okay, first things first, let's look at the oil, just make sure it's got some. It does. Not only does it have some, but it looks really clean. Okay, so good so far. Fuel. The fuel looks great. Dude, it looks great. It smells like new fuel. That's new fuel, and it's a full tank. Holy crap, the fuel alone is probably worth like several $1,000s at this point, isn't it? Okay, so far so great. Let's look at that. Okay, well, the air filter it's not pretty, but it doesn't have to be operational. It's not crumbling. And what's most important is it looks pretty good on the inside there. Yeah, that all looks pretty good to me. These sponge type filters, you do want to soak in oil when you install them anyway. So that's what's up with that. That's why it looks so oily. This one has a primer button. So, and it also has an on-off switch. I'm not sure which direction is the appropriate direction. Okay, there we can see now. Like I said, it's filthy. It needs to be clean, but okay, we'll press this way. It's on. Prime it a couple times. I think the primer bulb has seen better days. It's not wanting to prime, I don't think. But I don't know that this really has to prime to get going. Let me just try it. Okay, well, not an easy start. I say we begin with the same thing that most of these engines need. Carb. Let's pull the carb off. We'll clean it, check the carb, see if we can find a replacement primer bulb too for that. I don't have one like that, so I'll have to probably order it, but if nothing else, I may take that outer shield off and try to prime it by hand. I hope I don't have to remove the fuel line. I can't remember if I do or not, to get this outer thing off of here. I don't think I do to get this off. Oh, it's got a power button though. Shit. that's basically just going to be a ground button. Must be another screw I'm not seeing. Yep. Right there on the bottom. Okay, this is a lot simpler than the ones with the auto choke. Like you see on the lawnmowers, this carb is simpler than that. I'm gonna just spray some starter in there. We'll see. I think we're back to a no spark situation. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to unhook this switch just entirely because I think it's probably only a ground switch anyway. Okay, so I'll just unhook that one side of that switch right there. Okay, now that switch is off. The contact is off the switch. There's no chance of it, you know, shorting out the magneto. It's about as much as I want to keep pulling on this thing in this heat. It's middle of the day, it's hot. I'm going to take the shroud off. Well, I'll go ahead and remove the carb, and it just pulls right off of here. The only problem with this is we got a full tank of gas, so we need to remove the shroud, pick the tank of gas up, and we'll have to set it somehow that it doesn't all spill out. This recoil isn't working too great either, so we're gonna clean it, lube it up, make sure that it's working smoothly before we put it back together. All right, did you hear the thing where they found cocaine in the White House? What was this, like yesterday or the other day or something? Or like recently, within the past couple days, they found cocaine in the White House, and they're actually trying to blame tourists. They're trying to say, oh, the area was accessible to tourists. Like people who walk in, or, oh, I dropped my bag of cocaine. Oh, I just happened to bring in this cocaine past the guards and then left it there. But, cocaine in the White House would sure explain a lot, wouldn't it? All right. Yeah, I know. Keep wheezing at me. You know what? I'm getting under this damn pavilion. That's why I've got this thing. Okay, yeah, don't be stupid. Use the shade. Yeah, so one side of this switch is going to ground. So that's exactly what that is. It's just a kill switch. And I can test the switch too to make sure it's cutting off when it's ironically, when it's in the on position. It needs to cut that circuit to ground. Okay. I don't want to lose a full tank of gas here, so I'm going to try to preserve it as best I can. Would be nice if it had a valve, a shut-off valve like a Honda, wouldn't it? I only spilled a little bit of it. I'm gonna go ahead and take the bowl off and dump what I can in one of my other machines out of the bowl. And here in a second too, we will check for spark. So the bowls on these just have 2 screws on the bottom of the carb. Remove the 2 screws and then the bowl comes off. So the bowl is kind of hard on these. You have to twist it and pull it. And there we go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take the carb in. I'm gonna wash it off in the sink. I like to use just Dawn dish liquid and warm soapy water in my ultrasonic cleaner, and I'll just drop the whole thing in the ultrasonic. As for the bulb on this particular model, it is changeable. There's a ring around the outside of the bulb. If I move that, you should be able to see the white ring. See it? It's like nylon or something. And then it snaps into place when you install it. There's a little snap on this end, and there's a snap there. So I'm going to stick a screwdriver in there and undo those snaps, and the bulb should pop out. Okay, so there's the little clip out and the bulb out, and you can see there's also a little fuel screen there to keep garbage from the tank out. All right, like I said, when a carb is this dirty, I just like to hit it with some warm soapy water, Dawn dish liquid. You know, it's safe, it works. All this outside grease, grime, oil, crap, you know, that is on the outside of the carb, that all has to be washed off and brushed off before we can put it in the ultrasonic anyway, so I like to clean it like this first. This thing is filthy though. It was definitely used. Somebody got their money's worth, I guess, out of it, by the look of it. They could have gotten twice as long out of it if they had done some maintenance. This primer bulb, wow. Look at it, look how black. It's supposed to be red. I'll go ahead and fill this up. My God, somebody the other day on one of my John Deere videos, they said, don't ever strike a shaft with a hammer to release a pulley. And I'm like, man, you know, just about every single other YouTuber that works on small engines does that, or at least has done that at some point. It's not that huge of a deal. I wasn't striking it with full force, you know, to the point where I was gonna bend the metal on the shaft. I was just, you know, knocking it loose, like a small impact to knock it loose. And he was like, I would never subscribe to this. I'm like, oh man, here we go again. Yeah, this is the kind of crap I hear on my AMP videos sometimes about some of my methods. You know, oh, you should never do that like that. It's just this and that, blah, blah, blah. You know, like and stupid things too. Like, oh, you're not supposed to ever touch the glass on a tube. It's like, are you fucking serious? Just go away. You know what I mean? It gets kind of old, but I hope that doesn't become a trend, because I am enjoying making these videos. If you guys are enjoying watching these videos, hit like and subscribe down below to see more like it. But this is pretty rough and tumble. You know, I'm in my kitchen. I'm not really using anything that most people, you know, don't have access to or anything like that. So it's, you know, this is kind of an everyman operation. I would never subscribe to this. I mean, what possesses somebody to say that? I would never subscribe to this. Like, dude, I mean, nobody really asked. You know, hey man, would you ever subscribe to this? You know what I mean? Nobody asked you. What a douche. Like I said, man, you're witnessing somebody kind of learning as he goes here, you know, too. There's a lot of things I'm not going to get right first time around. I do appreciate all suggestions, you know, things I can improve or things I didn't check, and, you know, hey, next time do this, or hey, you need one of these tools. It's really, really, you know, helpful for me to get those kinds of suggestions, because, you know, obviously I want to make things easier for myself. All right, let's go check for some spark. Is that right? Yeah. Doesn't look bad at all. to be honest. I've seen much worse. That last one was much worse. But I'm still going to go ahead and we'll wire brush that off a little bit. Yep, dropping them never helps, does it? Dropping them is not a great plan. I mean, that's good enough. If it's gonna fire, it's gonna fire. It'd be something else if it didn't, probably. It's almost never a spark plug. Watch for spark for me, would you? Can't see. Yep, I see it. There's spark. Spark for sure. Okay, so next let's pop the valve cover off and see what the rockers and valves look like. If we don't see anything obvious here after we put the carb back on and test it out, maybe it's just a dirty carb. After we get that back on, hopefully it just works. But if it doesn't, we will pull the head off and see what the other side of the valves are seating like. Make sure they're seating all the way and all that. We might disassemble the valve assembly, and you know, if that's even the problem. But it's an easier thing to check than to, you know, start digging into the sump and all that stuff. The oil in this looked great, and it was the right level, so I don't expect a whole lot of excess oil in here or anything like that, and there's not. And we'll see what happens when it turns over. You see? All right, watch these. If both of these go up and down as I turn, then they're probably good. And they seem okay. Well, that one's now off of there. That might have been stupid. Ooh. Okay, all that looks pretty good. When I get in here, the reason I do that, push these down like that, is because if there's any loose bits of carbon or anything on the other end, I like to push it, just kind of push it further down than normal and just see if I can knock that stuff loose. I know that's probably not, you know, it's not what you're supposed to do here, obviously, but it's the idea that I have. Maybe I can knock some things loose if I press it down further than it's used to going, you know what I mean? Like that. A couple times and a couple times on the other one. But they seem to be doing what they're supposed to do. All right, so our problem is not there, I would say, and we have spark. So I'd say our problem is in fuel delivery for sure. If the valves are seating, we probably do have compression. Let me feel over here. Make sure we have compression. Well, we wouldn't with that open. Sorry, that's my bad. Have to close this. Let me close this first, and we might get compression. Okay, I seem to be getting. It's not sucking in at all on the intake. The intake's not sucking in. So, have we got some worn out rings on this one? Something like that. We're gonna remove this head. But yeah, there's no compression at all on the intake. There's no suction. So you know, there's something going on with the piston. Maybe the rings maybe aren't sealing. Something like that. This one has, I believe, major problems beyond what we usually see on these. You know, a lot of these machines you find abandoned, they're just very simple fixes. This one might be legit. There's the head. You know, I don't know. I don't see any real sealing issues there. Let's move the piston. I don't see any oil in the bore. Like, I got a bunch of grit on my hands. I really don't want to leave anything in there, obviously. You know, this does have oil. It's got plenty of oil. Actually, it's perfect on oil. And there's none leaking past the piston, so I don't see where there would even be a sealing issue or anything like that. So I don't know why I wouldn't be getting suction out of the intake. Okay, so obviously this is one of those forest for the trees moments that you really kind of don't catch when you're making videos like this until you're editing. But of course, I'm not going to get any compression when the spark plug is out of the machine. So really stupid of me to not really recognize that. I don't know why I didn't realize, hey, dummy, you just pulled the spark plug. That's why you're not getting compression. But, you know, this is the kind of thing that happens, and it's kind of instructive, and it shows how you can kind of go off the rails doing one of these videos like this, especially, you know, when you're trying to video and edit and also troubleshoot at the same time. Sometimes things just don't really click with you, and this was one of those instances where it just really didn't click what was going on. But it's actually good and instructive that I took this head off, because we get to see what good shape this thing is actually in, and we'll get to clean it up and stuff a little bit too anyway. Anyway, what I'm probably going to do, I'm going to go ahead and wire wheel this. I'll wire wheel this head. I'm going to reuse that gasket. You know, this is a curb find, so I'm not that worried about reusing the head gasket on this. It's just, it is what it is, you know what I mean? But that bore looks great. I don't see a single scratch, dent, ding, nothing on that bore. It's beautiful. You know, I might push this all the way out and clean off the outside of the piston just a little bit. Yeah, this isn't bad at all. I'm gonna try to get some off of this without messing up my gasket. Man, this thing is so clean. This thing is so clean, I can clearly see all the numbers on the piston head. I haven't even really. Look at that. I can see numbers right, all the numbers right there. See the numbers there? Yeah, man, this engine has seen very little wear. I wouldn't be surprised if it had some kind of timing issue that put it out of commission. But I'm just going to wait till we get the car back on it, and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so I'm back with this thing, and I do not believe that the timing is off now. You know, this was just a theory of mine. It was kind of a thing that I was sort of thinking about. It's at top dead center right now, and you can see the magnet is over here, right here, and it's basically just past almost the magneto on its way around, and that is pretty much what you would expect to see if the timing is on, at least this part is correct on the flywheel. So the mechanics and the electronics or the electrics are matching in terms of timing, it looks like to me, just based on what we're seeing here. Like I said, top dead center right now. I know that because I actually had the head off, and I could, you know, I put the piston all the way out, and the valves themselves were both closed at that moment, and this is top dead center right here, and this is what the flywheel looks like at top dead center for this model. Basically, you have this little plastic piece right here is kind of in the center, and your magnet on the flywheel is here, and it is almost almost past the magneto, which is here. So that's what it looks like when the timing is correct, and I believe this to be correct. So I got the carb cleaned. It came out of the cleaner. Everything is pretty spick and span and ready to go there. But the problem is with this piece, with the bulb on it. The bulb itself, surprisingly, is fine. I have blown into the bulb, like put this side on my mouth and then plug the hole, and there are no leaks in this bulb. There's no pinholes or anything like that, so it's not the bulb. The problem is with this little collar. This thing is very warped. If you look at it, you see how it kind of it's banana shaped, so it's got a big curve in it. And what it's doing is it's not sitting straight. It has to hold the bulb down to get a seal. Otherwise, there's no pressure created down here along this area, and it won't seal. So that's what's happening. It has uneven pressure around different areas around the bottom of the bulb, and I think also that's affecting the choke, because the bulb also sort of acts as the choke in this system. There is no there's no adjustable choke per se. It kind of there's a throttle, but there's no choke except for the bulb. The bulb serves as the choke. So, if it's not seating properly, the choke is kind of all thrown off, and the design of the thing doesn't really work at that point. So, need to order a bulb. You can get kits that have this whole piece with the bulb and this piece and even a filter and everything like that. So I may just order one of those and we'll come back to this. I am going to go ahead and put the carb on just for the hell of it, and just kind of see what it does. I'm just really curious, but yeah, I don't expect it necessarily to work. Okay, the ground switch is disconnected. And we'll use this as a safety. It's definitely fuel delivery related. I think we could say that now. Okay, so I'm back out here with this little pressure washer engine, and made some progress. I did a little bit of research on this carburetor, because it's been a long time since I messed with one, probably about a year since I messed with the carburetor like this, and I don't think it had this problem, the one that I messed with. But I did a little bit of research. I saw where some other people had problems with the main jet in this particular carb, which I did not pull apart separately and clean separately, so that was my bad. Probably should have done that to begin with. But I did take some advice from, I think it's Steve's Small Engine Repair Shop. That channel is a good channel. I'll put a link down in the description or somewhere where you can go check him out if you haven't seen his stuff already. He had a suggestion to drill out the main jets ever so slightly, which I did. I followed that advice and got some micro drills and just drilled out very, very slightly the main jet. I think I went too far with it, and I'll show you what I mean. It does run though, so let me start it. Not only does it run, but it pretty much starts first pull every time now. But the problem that I'm having is, if you look very closely,
you'll see it's just spraying gasoline out of the carb. And then when I try to put the air filter on, watch what happens. Okay, well, before I had it where it wasn't shutting down immediately, but it's like it's not getting enough air now. So the fuel air mix is wrong, clearly. It was running really rich, even with this off. So it was getting more air to compensate for that, but with this on now, it's not getting enough air. If I take this off right here, and if I remove that, it should go ahead and start back up and more or less run again. But it's still going to be running really rich. Okay, so obviously it's running way too rich now with that hole bored out. It looked maybe like maybe it was clogged with some debris. I just could not see. It seemed like it was free before I bored it out, and maybe I just went too far with it. I'll order another insert for the main jet to put on the carb on this, and I think that's going to get that to where it needs to go. It's got some tape on here. I don't know what's up with that. That could be not good. This is really hot down here too, so there ain't no telling. It could be that whatever's happening to this too is putting an undue load on the engine and slowing it down maybe somewhat as well. Not sure, but I'm sure they probably had a leak right here. Something was busted. I'm gonna hook the hose up to it. I'm gonna spray it off a bit, hook the hose up to it, and just see what we're dealing with here. I'm guessing that this part of the machine is not gonna be usable, and that this is basically just gonna be a replacement engine for something in the future, like a spare engine. But you know, we could also run other things if we wanted to attach a belt, a pulley and a belt or something to it. You know, we could run something off it if we wanted to. There's some silicone here, like bathroom silicone. I don't know if they're trying to prevent a leak or what. But I just want to see what it's doing. I want to spray all of it off first and just get an idea of what's going on with it. Whoop. Stay away from this clean seat. Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's just really weird, that I think this is the same people who threw this to the curb also were the ones who threw that John Deere to the curb. I think I got it. I believe it was the same house. So maybe they're just doing some outdoors cleaning up, you know, around. But I'm glad they're doing it. Oh, don't get in there. Okay, I'm gonna turn the water on and we'll see what shoots out, if anything, and from where. Alright, well, I guess it's a good thing I didn't put my camera over there. Okay, well, it's definitely jetting out of there pretty good without the motor running. Let's see what happens when the motor kicks on. I don't even know what to expect, I'll be honest. As a will it run video, I think this has been a success. Will it run? Yes. So that's the answer to that question. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with this thing. If I do anything with it, it's going to be it's going to have to include buying a new main jet for the carb. So it is working. It needs a new main jet. It's running rich. I'll put a tag on it saying as much. But yeah, you know, another thing saved from the curb that definitely would be workable in some scenario. I just don't know if I can still really use it as a pressure washer or not. Not too keen on servicing pressure washers. I just don't know. I may go ahead and order that main jet. If I do, I'll keep you guys apprised to what becomes of this thing. Otherwise, that'll do it for this one. Be sure to subscribe down below, and for now, we'll see y'all later.